shocking, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's not an unusual headline, but it is an unnecessary one. You say it couldn't happen to you. Well, you're right. It couldn't. That is, it couldn't happen to you if you follow the safety rules for babysitting. The babysitting business is booming. That means a lot of jobs for a lot of sitters. Teenage girls, the traditional babysitters, and teenage boys, too, are finding babysitting a fine way to earn extra money and an excellent training for the future. But more than this, it's also a serious responsibility and requires serious preparation. If you receive a call from someone you don't know, ask their address and telephone number and tell them you will call back. Before accepting any assignment, make certain that you have adequate information. Don't accept employment without knowing who is offering it, where you will be sitting, and for how long. Before returning the call, check with the person who recommended you. If this is not possible, verify the name and address in the telephone directory. If it doesn't check out, call the police. You could be saving yourself an unpleasant experience and rendering an important service to your community or some babysitter who is not as careful. You might even be keeping a tragic headline from being printed. Once satisfied that the job is legitimate, it is wise to arrange a preliminary visit. It is good business to get acquainted with your employer. This meeting will give you an opportunity to fill out your babysitting information sheet, which is a must for every efficient babysitter. Be sure you have all the important telephone numbers, such as the police, the fire department, the number where the parents are, the doctor, and the neighbor who can be contacted in case of an emergency. After you have completed the worksheet, it is wise to get any special instructions the mother may have regarding the care of the child or children. Then reach a clear-cut understanding about incoming phone calls, the use of the radio and television, and whether or not you are permitted to have company. Regarding the latter, it is a good rule not to mix business with pleasure. Now that you know what is expected of you, have the employer show you how to lock any doors or windows that may be used. Also ask if a flashlight in good working order is available, or better still, have one of your own. It could prove invaluable. If possible, it is advisable to meet the children or child you may be sitting with. This will help you when you start your job, because you will not be a stranger to them. Before leaving your home, be sure to provide your parents with a written record of the name, address, and telephone number where you will be working. Ideally, the first time you sit for a new employer, it is wise to have your parent drive you. Then they will know exactly where you are. Let your parent know the approximate time you will be finished and what arrangements have been made for you to get home. It will be appreciated if you are a little early in case there are any last-minute instructions. Make sure you have your checkoff sheet and that it is correct. Recheck to see what neighbors are available in case of an emergency. Be sure you have the phone number where your employer will be. If a phone isn't available, ask them to call you at least once during the evening. Also ask them to please inform you if there is any change regarding the time they plan to return. When your employer leaves, make certain all the doors and windows are locked. If the children are allowed to stay up to play or watch television, stay with them. While it is possible that someone may dial a wrong number, do not hesitate to report any suspicious phone calls. A call can be considered to be suspicious if no one responds when you answer, or the caller will not properly identify himself or asks personal questions. Do not admit that you are alone. Report immediately to your police department any such calls or any unusual happenings or suspicious persons, such as someone peeping in the window or trying to gain entrance. Even if a person claims to be a friend of your employer, explain that you are responsible and that you are not authorized to admit anyone. If they wish to use the phone, ask them to please go elsewhere. Don't forget, the police department is ready and anxious to help if the need arises. Do not permit the children to play or linger in the bathroom. Make certain they do not touch bottles or other articles. Children have died because this precaution was not observed, and they had the opportunity to innocently drink some liquid or swallow some pills. Keep the bathroom door closed and they will be safe. Once the small children are safe in bed, it would seem you could relax, but it is important to remain alert and dependable at all times. Electrical outlets, sharp or heavy objects can be dangerous. In case of an accident, do not attempt anything more than the simplest first aid measures. If there is the slightest doubt in your mind, telephone the neighbor whose number you have been given. And if the condition is obviously serious, call the doctor immediately. Then telephone the parents. If you have been told you may prepare yourself a snack, be thoughtful and moderate. Don't raid the refrigerator. Fires sometimes start from faulty electrical wiring or other mechanical failure. If you smell smoke or see smoke or flame, don't panic, don't delay. Get the children out of the house immediately. Don't imperil your life or theirs by trying to put out the fire or stopping the telephone. Get out of the house as quickly as possible. Then notify the fire department using the neighbor's phone or the street alarm box. The person for whom you have been working has been drinking, and he is to drive you home. Point out as diplomatically as possible that it is for his protection as well as yours that other transportation be arranged. If your parents cannot pick you up, ask that taxicab transportation be provided. Do not hesitate to call the police and explain the problem if satisfactory alternative arrangements cannot be made. When babysitting out of doors, avoid conversations with strangers and never accept a ride. Even if the party claims to be a friend sent by the parent to pick up the child, don't go with him. If he continues to annoy you or act suspicious, write down the license number and notify the police as soon as you can. Generally speaking, babysitting will be a pleasant experience, devoid of excitement and unusual situations. You may never have to meet a crisis, but knowing what to do in an emergency and knowing how to avoid dangerous situations will add to your poise and confidence. Babysitting can be rewarding and remunerative. It will give you the opportunity of earning a little money while you learn the care and pleasure of younger children. By the time you become a parent, you will be an expert.